Hi friends, in this video I am again going to continue Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stones audiobook. So we left from Doris Crawford shook 75th page number. Okay, we left from there. So we will start from here. So I am going to start. Doris Crawford shook Harry's hand one last time and Hagrid let them go. Led them through the bar and out into a small walled courtyard where there was nothing but a dustbin and a few weeds. Hagrid grinned at Harry. Told you, didn't I? Told you was famous. Even Professor Quill was trembling to meet you. Mind you, his unusual trembling. He is usually trembling. Is he always that nervous? Oh yeah, poor bloke. Brilliant mind. He was fine while he was studying audiobooks, but then he took a year off to get some first-hand experience. They say he met vampires in the Black Forest, and there was a nasty bit of trouble with a hag. Never been the same since. Scared of students, scared of his own subject. Now where's my umbrella? Vampires, hags. Harry's head was swimming. Hagrid, meanwhile, was counting bricks in the wall above the dustbin. 3 up, 2 across, he muttered. Right, stand back, Harry. He tapped the wall 3 times with the point of his umbrella. The brick had touched, creamed, it wiggled in the middle. A small hole appeared. It grew wider and wider. A second later, they were facing an archway large enough even for Hagrid. An archway onto a cobbled street which twisted and turned out of sight. Welcome, said Hagrid, to Diagon Alley. He grinned at Harry's amazement. They stepped through the archway. Harry looked quickly over his shoulder and saw the archway shrinking instantly back into solid wall. The sun shone brightly on the stack of cauldrons outside the nearest shop. Cauldrons, all size, copper, brass, petter, silver, self-stirring, collapsible, said a sign hanging over them. You will be needing one, said Hagrid, but we gonna get your money first. Harry wished he had about 8 more eyes. He turned his head in every direction as they walked up the street, trying to look at everything at once. The shop, the things outside them, the people doing their shopping. A plump woman outside an apothecary's was shaking her head as they passed, saying dragon liver 16 sickles and ounce. They are mad. A low, soft hooting came from a dark shop with a sign saying Elopes Owl Emporium. Tawny, scratchy, brown, and snowy. Several boys of about Harry's age had their noses pressed against the window with a broomstick in it. Look, Harry, heard one of them say. The new Nimbus 2000, fastest ever. There were shops selling robes, shops selling telescopes and strange silver instruments Harry had never seen before. Windows stacked stacked with barrels of bad sleepness, spleens and eels' eyes, tottering piles of spell books, quills, and rolls of parchment, potion bottles, globes of the moon, gringotts, said Hagrid. They had reached a snowy white building which towered over the other little shop. Standing beside it, burnished bronze door, wearing a uniform of scarlet gold, was "Yea, that's a goblin," said Hagrid quietly as they walked up white stone steps toward him. The goblin was about a head shorter than Harry. He had a swarthy, clever face, a pointed beard, and Harry noticed very long fingers and feet he bowed as they walked inside. Now they were facing a second pair of doors, silver this time, with words engraved upon them. "Enter, strangers, but take heed of what awaits the sin of greed. For those who take but do not earn must pay more dearly in their turn. So if you seek beneath our floors a treasure that was never yours, thief, you have been wanted. Beware of finding more than treasure there." Like I said, you would be mad to try and rob it, said Hagrid. A pair of goblins bowed them through the silver door, and they were in vast marble hall. About 100 more goblins were sitting on high stools behind a large counter, scribbling in large letters, weight coins on brass scale, examining precious stones through eyeglasses. There were too many doors to count leading off the hall, and yet more goblins were showing people in and out of these. Hagrid and Harry made for the counter. "Morning," said Hagrid to a free goblin. "We have come to take some money out Mr. Potter's safe." "You have his key, sir?" "Got it somewhere," said Hagrid as he started emptying his pockets on the counter, scratching a handful of moldy dog biscuits over the goblin's book of numbers. The goblin wrinkled his nose. Harry watched the goblin on their right, weighing a pile of rubies as big as glowing coals. "Got it," said Hagrid at last, holding up a tiny golden key. The goblin looked at it closely. "That seems to be in order. And I have also got a letter from Professor Dumbledore," said Hagrid importantly, throwing out his chest. It's about the you know what in Vault 713. The goblin read the letter carefully. "Very well," he said, handing it back to Hagrid. "I will have someone take you down to both vaults. Griphook was yet another goblin. Once Hagrid had crammed all the dog biscuits back inside his pocket, he and Harry followed Griphook towards one of the doors leading off the hall. "What's the you-know-what in Vault 713? Harry asked. "Can't tell you that," said Hagrid mysteriously. "Very secret Hogwarts business. Dumbledore trusted me more than my job's worth to tell you that." Griphook held the door open for them. Harry, who had expected more marble, was surprised. They were in a narrow stone passageway lit with flaming torches. It sloped steeply downwards, and there were little railway tracks on the floor. Griphook whistled, and a small cart came hurtling up the tracks toward them. They climbed in, Hagrid with some difficulty, and were off. At first, they just hurtled through a maze of twisting passages. Harry tried to remember left, right, left, middle fork, right, left, but it was impossible. The rattling cart seemed to know its way because Griphook wasn't steering. Harry's eyes stung as the cold air rushed past them, but he had kept them wide open. Once he thought he saw a burst of fire at the end of a passage and twisted around to see if it was a dragon, but too late. They plugged even deeper, passing an underground lake where huge stalactites and stalagmites grew from ceiling and floor. I know Harry. I never know. Harry called to Hagrid over the noise of the cart. What's the difference between a stalagmite and a stalactite? And a stalactite. Stalagmites got and in it, said Hagrid, and don't ask me questions just now. I think I'm gonna be sick. He did look very green, and when when the cart stopped at last beside a small door in the passageway wall, Hagrid got out and had to lean against the wall to stop his knees trembling. Griphook unlocked the door. Lot of green smoke came bowling out. As it cleared, Harry gasped. Inside were mounds of gold, columns of silver, gold coins, columns of silvers, heaps of little bronze nuts. All's yours, smiled Hagrid. So, friends, here our reading for today finishes. The next part of the chapter or the book in the next video. So, meet you in the next video. Bye.